Welcome everyone to tonight's training, Get Your People to a No Kings Protest. My name is Eric Babb. I'm the volunteer manager at Vote Save America, and I am so excited to be here with you all tonight. Just so you know, I live in Washington, D.C., so I won't be able to go to a local No Kings event. So I'll be going to one in Cambridge, Maryland. So for anyone here watching tonight who is in Cambridge, keep an eye out for me in just a couple of weeks. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So first, our community norms. We want to have productive conversations in the chat, so thank you in advance for that. Please, I'm sorry, I just realized the chat is actually disabled, so don't worry about those first two for tonight. But as always, as a reminder, we do want to commit ourselves to nonviolent action when we are at our in-person events. Okay, here are our objectives for tonight, but I want to make sure that one thing is clear from the very beginning. No matter who you are, whether you are a No Kings promotion lead for a local Indivisible chapter, or you're just an individual who's here because you want to help promote these events, this training tonight is for all of you. It's for everyone. So again, whether you're a leader, whether you're just someone who really wants to help out, you're not planning, but you want to help promote these events, thank you for joining this call tonight. So our objectives, we're going to start off with a quick overview of what is No Kings and why is it really important to include event promotion in this part of our movement building. Then we'll go through a different set of methods for event promotion. We're going to focus on flyering and wheat pasting for tonight, but we'll highlight a few others as well. And then we'll close by making a plan for how we can do event promotion in our community. So here's our agenda for tonight, pretty much exactly what I just said. We'll start off by giving an overview of No Kings and event promotion. Then we'll hear from Ezra Levin, the co-founder of Indivisible, get hyped up for all of the No Kings info that he has to share. We'll talk through some event promotion tactics, step-by-steps, and then we'll go through our next steps from there. Okay, so let's start with No Kings. And before we do that, I just want to go one more time into the tactics. So like I said, we're going to focus on flyering, putting a poster up in a window, on a wall, and wheat pasting, which is sort of like gluing a poster up on a wall. And we'll go through both those tactics in a lot more detail. But there's a lot more ways to get the word out, whether that's chalking, social media, getting into your group chats, or just utilizing your different online communities. There are a lot of different ways to get involved, and we'll highlight a few of those as well. So what is No Kings? No Kings is a national day of action and mass mobilization in response to the increasing authoritarian excesses and corruption of the Trump administration. You know, like disappearing people off the streets or hosting crypto dinners for their newest crypto meme coin. No Kings is our chance to say loudly, clearly, and together that this democracy is for us and by us, and we do not kneel to any king. So why is event promotion important? Why are we here tonight? For me, the first part of the answer is pretty simple. We want as many people as possible at the No Kings rallies on Saturday, June 14th, as possible. The goal of No Kings is to build a massive, visible national rejection of the Trump-made crisis and do it at the same time as a little parade in DC. So in April, over 3 million of you showed up for a hands-off protest. On June 14th, we want even more from all corners of our community. And that's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take people making connections and building coalitions with people in their community. And there are folks already doing that. Tonight's all about just getting the word out about the event, doing the flyering, doing the wheat pasting, doing that sort of like last mile of event promotion so that as many people as possible can know about it. So if you're here tonight, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to help make a plan to promote No Kings. We're very thankful to have you here because, as you can see on the slide, which is just a map of the United States filled with dots, there are a lot of events coming up. Last I heard, maybe Ezra can give us an update, there were 1,300 events being planned for June 14th. So there is plenty of event promotion that we can get started on this week. So we're going to skip this slide, and we're going to jump straight into Ezra. Really excited to hear from Ezra. Like I said, so Ezra Levin is the co-founder and co-director of Indivisible. Prior to founding Indivisible, Ezra served as Associate Director of Federal Policy for Prosperity Now, a national anti poverty nonprofit, as well as working on Capitol Hill. So, Ezra, thank you
Hey,
so
Eric.
for joining tonight. How are you?
Eric, I'm doing great. Thank you for hosting this, and thanks to Vote Save America for being such incredible partners in this. It's a joy to be working together to fight back against these authoritarians.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're very happy to be in this movement with you. So I'm going to pass the mic off to you, and the floor is yours.
Well, okay, let's talk about this. We are, as you said, we are living through this moment of authoritarian breakthrough. So if you listen to the experts in authoritarianism, Maria Stephan, Heather Cox Richardson, Timothy Snyder, what they will tell you is that right now, what we're experiencing in America is the institutions that should be upholding liberal democracy. You look at law firms, you look at universities, you look at businesses, you look at media institutions. They are being threatened directly by the Trump administration. And many of those institutions are looking at these threats and saying, well, whoa, I don't want to be targeted by these folks. I might suffer. My business might suffer. My institution might suffer. I'm going to hold back. I'm not going to step up. I'm going to obey in advance. That's really dangerous for democracy. That is really dangerous for democracy. And at times, when this happens in a country, when the authoritarian government is attacking these liberal institutions, it is up to the people to stand up, to be the bulwark for democracy. This isn't just about raising your fist and showing up with other people and getting your name in the paper, seeing your picture out there and putting your name on the right side of history. That's part of it. It will feel good. You will like to be out there. Your friends and family members will like to be out there. But that's not the only point. We're actually engaging in a very important part of fighting back against authoritarianism. This is hard-headed strategy here, because when people show up in mass, and this is going to be the biggest protest of the year so far, when people show up in mass, what that does, it doesn't just send a message to Donald Trump, it sends a message to all of these political leaders, all of these institutions, that the period we're in right now, this period is temporary. This authoritarian overreach, it's temporary. Trump is unpopular. He's a lame duck. This period is going to be replaced by a period of oversight and accountability. That is what we get to send as a message to everybody watching when we show up on June 14th. Then they have to factor into their own calculations of what to do, because ABC News is still going to be a news organization in 2027 when we retake the House. Washington Post, still going to be a news organization. Paul Weiss, still going to be a law firm. Columbia University, still going to be a university. And they're going to have to contend with what they do in this moment. So by showing up in mass, the people send one clear message: democracy is reasserting itself. We do not accept kings in this country. But in order to send that message, we got to show up in full force. We got to show up in full force. We already heard from Eric. We had about 3.5 million people out on Hands Off, 1,300 protests all over the country, every single state. And we were in multiple other countries, everywhere from South America to Canada to Europe. We were everywhere. We're going even bigger this time. There are already, Eric, I'll update the number. There are more than 1,400 No King's Day protests. 1,400 No King's Day protests already registered all over the world. Every single state, including the future state of DC, Eric, your future state of DC, it's represented as well. There are protests actually not against this BS birthday military parade that Trump is pulling on, but we're working with Free DC. So if you want to appear at a protest in DC, there's a way to do that without feeding into the Trump narrative. You can do that too. 1,400 events, and there will be more. If you go to nokings.org and you search your zip code and you can't find one near you, congratulations. You get to organize your family, your community, your colleagues, your grandma, your mom, your dad, get them out. This day of protest is being led by normal people just like you all over the country, all over the world. That's how there are 1,400 already. That's how we're going to keep on building to send a very clear message. And as Eric said, this is grassroots. How are we going to get the word out? How are more people going to hear about it? You're going to tell them. You're going to reach out to your community. This is how we build. It is grassroots, it is organic, and it is done by normal, everyday people like you who are trying to do their part. So I'm thrilled to be here with y'all to help build this up. But it's ultimately, it's you who's going to lead this. It's you who's going to form the events. It's you who's going to register for the events. It's you who's going to tell your community that it's important that we show up on this day. Because Donald Trump is out there saying there's not enough money for Medicaid, but there is $50 million for a taxpayer-funded military parade on his 79th birthday on June 14th. So we're going to show up in mass and show him what patriotism looks like, what pluralistic democracy looks like, what America actually looks like. And we don't accept kings in America. We got to send that message loud and clear. So I really, really, really appreciate everybody's help in getting the word out. We're honored to be part of this with Vote Save America. Let's go get this done. Eric, back to you.
All right. Thanks so much, Ezra. We are so excited to partner with you all, and I hope you have a really great, busy 2 weeks.
Thank you, Eric. You too.
Okay. Bye. All right. Thank you again to Ezra for joining us tonight. I always like hearing what Ezra said. I really liked when he said, this will be the biggest protest of the year for now. Very like Simpsons meme, if you know the one. So let's jump into event promo tactics and the timeline that we're going to need to get this done. Because when I look at the calendar, oh boy, June 14th is coming up fast. And if our goal is to flyer and wheat paste in our neighborhoods, it would behoove us, ideally, to have our flyers up by this weekend. Now, obviously, not everyone's schedule here is the same. Some of us might not be able to come up for air until this Saturday on the 7th. But for anyone who is able to flyer or wheat paste or do anything else ASAP, including gathering all the materials that are needed, getting any promotion done before Friday could really do a lot towards tuning even more eyes onto this event. So with that said, before, actually, I'm going to move on to the next slide, excuse me. Okay, so here are the posters. I love these posters. I think they look so great. What we wanted to do is we want to make it as easy as possible for you to find a poster that you can use, and no matter where you live, it'll direct a passerby to an upcoming local No Kings event. So let's go over how these posters work. So all of the posters that we've made, the 3 that you saw on the previous slide, the one that's on this slide, they all have an identical QR code. What happens is when a passerby scans that QR code, and you can scan it right now with their phone, their browser will open up a mobilized feed of upcoming No Kings events, and the closest event will be at the top of the feed. So even if you're in Emporia, Kansas, where I grew up, you can download one of our posters from our toolkit, put it up in your neighborhood, and any passerby who scans the QR code will find the event that they need to get, and you're good to go. So if you're ready to go, let's figure out how to print these posters. So you can print these posters at votesaveamerica.com/toolkit. And Ezra was talking about nokings.org. There's a lot more posters on that website as well. So feel free to go there as well. But if you go to votesaveamerica.com/toolkit, you can find our toolkit with all of our posters, and that is where you can download it. Just scroll down a little bit to section 2, and you'll find the posters there. We are going to email this toolkit out tonight and tomorrow. So you will get this toolkit in your inbox. You can start putting these up in your communities starting tomorrow. All right, so let's go into wheat pasting, but disclaimer before we do that. If you are reading this slide, that means we have gotten to the legal portion of the presentation. I'm not going to read it word for word, but the paraphrase is, when you are flyering, when you are wheat pasting, please make sure that you have permission or that you have checked your local ordinances before you flyer or before you wheat paste. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Okay, let's talk about where we can post these flyers. We just have like a starter list of ideas, but I'm sure you all have tons and tons and tons of ideas. So when you're talking to your friends about promotion, when you're talking to the group of people that you're going to be like doing this with, make sure you're throwing ideas back and forth. This is just a subset. This is a little starter kit to get you going. So I'll just read what's on the screen. We have your local library, your apartment building bulletin board, that one wall downtown. You know the one. There's always that one wall downtown that just has flyers on it. That's what it's for, that one wall downtown. Coffee shops, laundromats, transit stops, parks, rec centers, your favorite indie bookstore, other downtown shops that have cool window displays. And then if you're a student on campus and you're starting up summer session soon, put it on those campus event campus event boards. So lots of places where you can flyer. Again, make sure you have permission if you need it. And then on top of that, keep in mind maybe the upcoming events that might precede No Kings that might have a lot of foot traffic where you might want to flyer or do some wheat pasting. So First Fridays is like the first Friday art walks that some communities have. This Friday, June 5th, is the first Friday. I know, like, I lived in Kansas City for a number of years and they had a huge First Fridays. What I would do is just like flyer all around the perimeter so that when people are coming into the First Fridays, they're going to see your flyer. Same thing with Pride. You might have some Pride events coming up this weekend. The one note we do want to make, just like, be considerate of other groups' events. Pride is definitely for Pride. But again, if you want to fly around the perimeter, so when people are parking and walking in, when people are transiting and walking in, they'll see those flyers for what's coming up the next weekend after the event. So that's one more option for where we can flyer. But let's get into the sort of like nitty gritty, the how to's of wheat pasting. Wheat pasting is really fun. If you don't know what wheat pasting is, it's a form of street art with a long history in protest movements, not just your third grade paper mache class, where basically you just adhere a poster by gluing it to a wall that is ideally clean, dry, and smooth. And I'll try to repeat that a few times tonight so that we make sure that when we're wheat pasting, we're adhering it to a wall that is clean, dry, and smooth. So why wheat pasting as a tactic? Simply, you can wheat paste in areas where you may not be able to flyer, right? Say you're in a neighborhood and you're friendly with your neighborhood coffee shop and they have this really cool alley, like that's the alley people always walk through before they walk in. Just pop in and ask them like, hey, there's this big No Kings thing next weekend. Can I wheat paste on your wall outside? And if you get the permission, great, go up there and just wheat paste on their wall. Another reason to wheat paste, it stands out. It looks cool, especially when there's a lot of them together. So one thing to maybe keep in mind is like we have 4 posters for you to use. If you get permission and you're able to wheat paste, maybe consider putting all 4 up at a time. When you put all 4 up together, there's like 2 that are just sort of like word copy, and then 1 that has Trump and 1 has Musk on it. It's not just so much a single poster, it sort of like tells the story of like why you should show up. And that can like just like catch the passerby attention just a little bit more. And then one more reason, whether you're wheat pasting, flyering, chalking, whatever, it's there when you're not, right? So, if you have time this work week, put up those flyers this week so that more people can see them this weekend. All right, so let's go into how you prepare your wheat paste. Now, we're not going to go full Julia Child on you right now. The directions to wheat paste can be found in the toolkit, which again, we'll email to you, but you can find it at votesaveamerica.com/toolkit. And if any of you are like me, like I like to read through multiple sources before I feel comfortable because maybe the directions are similar, but there's just like slightly different flavors for each one. So in the toolkit, we included a couple of YouTube tutorial videos and a couple of other articles that they all look pretty good and worth sharing. So hopefully that'll make you feel just a little bit better if you want to try out wheat pasting. But seriously, it's like 2 ingredients. It's all-purpose flour and water. That's literally it. So we recommend starting with the minimum amount needed. So that would be 1 cup of flour and 4 cups of water. If you need more or less, just multiply or divide by the same number, and that'll get you to what you need. So let's just quickly go through the directions. Again, you can read through this on your own time when you get through the toolkit. First thing you want to do is you're going to take 3 cups of your water and put it on a stove, bring it to a gentle boil. While you have that water on the stove, you can take your remaining cup of water and your cup of flour, combine them and just mix them together and just try to get out as many clumps as you can. Once your water is at that gentle boil, go ahead and combine it with your mixture. I'm just like trying to give some like physical directions here. Combine it with your mixture and stir gently for 20 minutes. Nothing too vigorous, but just stir gently for 20 minutes. After those 20 minutes, you can remove it from the heat and then for another 10 minutes, keep stirring consistently. It should thicken up to about the consistency of a heavy cream. If you feel like it's becoming a bit too thick, it's okay to add a little bit of water and then keep mixing it. After those 10 minutes are up, you can move your mixture to another container, a glass jar works just fine, and then let it cool. The only bit of advice there is like when you move it to that final container, make sure you move it to a container that you can like fit a paintbrush in. So like whatever you're going to use for your wheat pasting. And again, I'll just say it one more time, all of this information, tutorial videos are in the toolkit that we'll send out tomorrow. Okay, so now let's go over how to wheat paste. For starters, once again, once you have permission, you want to apply your poster to a smooth, dry, clean wall. So ideally like a concrete wall, not a brick wall, for those reasons. So smooth, dry, clean walls, those are gonna be your ideal options. So once you have your spot picked out, with a brush, you want to apply a thin coat of your wheat paste on the surface that's about the size of your poster, maybe a little bit bigger. Because after you apply that thin coat to your surface, you're going to apply your poster to the wall as level as you can make it. Once you have applied your poster, you're going to apply one more thin coat of your wheat paste over your poster. So it's 3 steps right there. Apply your wheat paste to the wall, apply your poster to the wall, apply one more thin coat of wheat paste over your poster. Once you've done those 3 steps, smooth out any air bubbles that might be on your poster, starting in the middle, working your way out, and then just do one more spot check of the edges. If the edges are a little bit dangling off the wall, just give that one more once over with your brush. So just so that like no rain or dust can get in. You want your poster to last, the full 2 weeks before the event. So again, just to say it one more time, in the toolkit, you have some tutorial videos, both on how to make the wheat paste and on how to apply it to surfaces. All right, but we're not just going to do that, right? Because our networks may not just be where we live, they may just be all over the country. So we're not just going to flyer and wheat paste in our local communities. We're going to amplify all of our efforts on social media. So how are we going to do this? One idea is once you've done your wheat pasting, once you've done your flyering, take a picture, put it on your social media of choice, use the No Kings hashtag so that other people can find the poster and amplify it. Now, that may not get more people to sign up for your event, but it's just going to get more people to know about No Kings through social media. So this is just one more way to +1 your IRL efforts with an online effort. When you're posting to social media, go ahead also and tag your favorite org of choice. So whether that's Indivisible, we would love a tag at Vote Save America. So our handles everywhere are at Vote Save America. Please post a picture of your wheat paste poster on a really cool wall, tag us on it. We would love to see that and uplift it. And then again, use the hashtag No King. So even if you can't get out to flyer a poster, but you really want to help out by getting on social media, look for that No Kings hashtag and just amplify the heck out of everything that you see. The last thing that we can all do is just get loud online, right? So if you can't promote an event in person, please just get loud online, whether you are using social media, whether you are just getting in the group chat, telling your friends, whether you are getting on your online communities. So whether that's Facebook groups, your Reddits, your Discord servers, Nextdoor, LinkedIn, do it. Find those online communities and post an invite link, an event link in those forums. Just the disclaimer here is, make sure you make a note of what's allowable. Some communities don't allow you to, post protest events and things like that, but do your homework and you'll be good to go. Like Ezra said, nokings.org has a big map of all the events, and you can also find a list of events at votesaveamerica.com/nokings. All right, let's talk next steps. So skip this slide. So next steps, we are going to find the event promotion toolkit at typo incoming, votesaveamerica.com/toolkit. And again, we will email the toolkit out to anyone who is watching this training tonight. And then just start promoting No Kings this week. Whether you can start tomorrow, whether you can start Friday or this weekend, try to start as soon as possible. Because again, the more flyers and the more wheat pasting we can do before this weekend, the more people who will see our flyering and wheat pasting when we get to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then I'll just I don't think Ezra really needed me to mention this, but if you are by chance a host, you're putting on a No Kings event, there are other trainings for you to attend this week, and you can get those trainings at nokings.org. So thank you all so much for coming to the training tonight. Short and sweet. We cannot say thank you enough for you all taking your time to come to this training. Like Ezra said, these events, like, yes, they will make us feel good, but they are critical to help us push back against the Trump regime and all of the overstepping that they are doing. So you all joining this training tonight, you all doing some promotion this week or later this weekend, it is going to do so much to make this the biggest protest of this year so far. So thank you all so much for coming tonight. Have a great week, and we will see you at a protest.